Hello. So today on Bright Onion Music Discussion, we're gonna do something kind of different. So I was just on like that tier list site, and I found someone had made a Radiohead song tier list, like TierListMaker type thing. And for it, they have every Radiohead song on an album, plus in Rainbow's Disc 2. So I'm gonna go through this and place them onto tiers from S to D, essentially. So I think that'll be kind of a fun little project. So let's go through it. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Alright, so essentially we're going to start with Pablo Honey, because the first 12 tracks obviously are from Pablo Honey. So let's go through it. So the first song on Pablo Honey, it looks like they're in alphabetical order, but I'll go in terms of track order on the albums. So first song is You. You I've always liked a lot. I think that You is one of the stronger tracks on Pablo Honey. It actually has some interesting like timing. It's got like a 5/4 time signature, and the way that kind of like creates a unique groove is something that Pablo Honey doesn't normally do. So I think that You is a pretty strong track. I'm going to put it on B tier. Then we have Creep. Creep obviously is a pretty important track for their career, but as a song itself, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not amazing. It's about on the level of You, I think. I really like the end of Creep, the outro. It's the best part in my opinion. But yeah. So next is, what is next? I don't know Pablo Honey all that well. How Do You is the next track. How Do You is one of the weakest Radiohead songs, I think, and it's on one of the weakest albums, so it doesn't really have a high standing for me. I think How Do You is generally just a pretty meh track, so I'm going to put it on D tier. D tier for this list doesn't mean bad necessarily, it just means like a track I don't really care for, whereas C is a track I care for at least a little bit, B is a pretty good song, A is like great, and then S is like my all-time favorite Radiohead songs. So that's how I'm going to kind of do this. So being D doesn't mean it's terrible. It's just like it's probably one of the weakest Radiohead songs, I would say. So next is Stop Whispering. Stop Whispering is a solid C. It's just okay. It's fine. It's a fine song. It's not very strong, but it's not bad either. I like Tom York's vocal delivery on it. Then we have Thinking About You. Thinking About You is actually one of my favorite songs of Pablo Honey, so I'm actually going to put it above those other two on the level of You and Creep. I really like the emotion in this song. It's very poignant. Next we have Anyone Can Play Guitar, which I think is a pretty good song. It's pretty standard. It's probably about this level of Stop Whispering. And then we have, oh boy, I don't exactly remember the track listing of Pablo Honey enough, but I think I Can't is next, and I'm going to put that at a C as well. It's just fun. It's fine. It's not that memorable, but it's not bad. And then next is, I'm pretty sure next is Ripcord. I think it's Ripcord, Vegetable, Prove Yourself, Allergy, Blowout, if I remember correctly. So I'm just going to go in that order. Ripcord is a good song. It's probably around there as well. Vegetable is not one of my favorites, that's for sure. Prove Yourself is, it's about that level. Allergy is actually pretty good, and Blowout is one of the better ones on Pablo Honey. So that's how I do it. Blowout is notable just because of its like shoegazy outro, where it kind of just becomes a haze of guitar. It's a good effect. So you can tell overall Pablo Honey is a pretty C tier album. It just has some B and a couple D. Okay, so going on to the bends. So I'm not a huge fan of the bends. I think it's a really good album, but I don't think it's one of the best Radiohead albums by any means. It's probably like mid to low tier for me, versus by Radiohead's standards. And that being said, it has some really good tracks. So Planet Till X is first. I actually really like Planet Till X. This is an A tier track for me. I love the reverby piano chords it starts with. Then we have the Bends title track, which is a B tier song. I think it's good. I don't think it's particularly amazing, but I think it's a solid solid track, and really anything like average on the bends is probably going to be around B tier, not C tier like Pablo Honey. So next is High and Dry. Oh, this is a C tier track though. I think High and Dry is pretty bland. It's fine when you first hear it, but I think in terms of replay value, it's kind of on the weaker side. And then we have Fake Plastic Trees. This is a solid B tier track. I really like this one. It has some good emotional ups and downs, although it's quite straightforward. Bones is a C tier track. It's a solid rock song, but it's again very 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 simplistic. And then Nice Dream is next. Nice Dream is an A track. I really love Nice Dream. It has a great vibe. I love the way it has that switch up in the middle, and it uses kind of a dissonant guitar solo to bridge between the dreamy part and then you know, the more nightmaric part, I guess. So good song. Just is a B track. Just is really solid. It's got some really good frenetic guitar playing and really crazy chord progressions. Good song. My Iron Lung is an A tier track. One of the best on the bends. I love the grunge sound to it. And then we have Bulletproof, which is, in my opinion, also an A tier track. I love Bulletproof. I think it's one of the most emotive songs that Tom York has ever written. Black Star is a solid B track. It's great. It's a good song for sure. I just think it's not on the level of these other four. And then we have Sulk, which is a C tier track. It's good, but it's one of the weakest moments on the bends. But then we have Street Spirit. This is going to be the first S tier track. S for Street Spirit. This, they have it written wrong. It's Fade Out, not Fake Out. But Street Spirit is one of the best Radiohead songs ever. It's just it captures that kind of like dark, lonely, almost nihilistic vibe that some of their later tracks have, but in such a pure way and so early on in their career. It really captured what they would do later with their music, especially on like Amnesiac. Really good song. Really, really good. Like this one I can listen to. I'll probably still years from now consider it to be one of my favorite songs ever. So, okay. Now we're on to the stuff from OK Computer. So Airbag starting off. Airbag is an A tier track. It's super, super good. As far as openings go, it's one of the best Radiohead opening tracks, is my opinion. So many layers, so many parts to it. It's just crazy. It's so dense. Instrumentally, it's one of the most interesting pieces of music they've ever made. Then we have Paranoid Android, another A tier track for me. Paranoid Android is really, really solid. Of course, everyone knows Paranoid Android. It's got the 4 different distinct sections to it, and it's a real emotional roller coaster. Okay, then we have Subterranean Mystic Alien. This is another A tier track. I just love this song. It's so chill. It's very dreamy. It's very hopeful. I love the alien sounding guitars. Exit music for film. Ooh. I'm gonna put it A, but this is close to being an S tier, to be honest. Exit music is really, really good, and yeah, that's a hard one. But yeah, I'll put it there. I love the build up to that track. I love how gritty it sounds and how emotional it is. Then we have Letdown. Yeah, Letdown's going to be an S tier for me. This is, I think, the first moment on OK Computer up to that point in which the emotions just are so palpable. It just really is an outpouring of really strong emotions and very conflicted emotions. Really good song. Then we have Karma Police, another A tier track. It's like B tier first half, S tier second half, averages to A, basically. Then we have Fitter Happier. Fitter Happier is it's a C tier track, I guess, but it's not really. It's hard to compare it to the other songs. It makes a statement that fits into the themes of the album of OK Computer really well, but on its own, it's just an interlude. So, Electioneering is a B tier track, really solid song, but one of the weaker ones on OK Computer. It's kind of more straightforward. Climbing Up the Walls, another A tier track. I love the horror movie atmosphere it has. Really, really solid. Darkest Moment on OK Computer. No Surprises. Ooh. No Surprises is so close to being S, but I'm going to put it A as well. But that's another one, like Exit Music, really close. Really, really solid song. Flawless, honestly, pretty much. But like, it just doesn't it just doesn't have that same thing, like same feeling to it that Let Down and Street Spirit have for me. Those just really have emotionally affected me over the years, and ones I really come back to a lot, to wallow in sorrow. So yeah, No Surprise is really good though, and I feel like on a good day listening to OK Computer, I could probably put it up to S. Lucky is a B tier track. I think it's pretty good. I think it's great Radiohead song by any means. It's just one of the more low-key album or moments on the album. The Tourist is as well. The Tourist has a really great chorus, but overall is slow and very stripped down, which serves a thematic purpose in the album, being the kind of slow down track, literally, for the narrator. But it's just, it doesn't grab me as much as the others on the album, so that's why, yeah. So I think that's good for OK Computer. So overall, OK Computer is pretty average to A, whereas the Benz is actually more split, and then Pablo Honey is more C. So okay, so now we're going to get into my favorite Radiohead album, which is Kid A. And Kid A is, well, going to be hard, I think. I'm going to want to put everything in S, but I'm going to have to use a lot more discretion, I guess, than I would normally to try and actually rank these appropriately without just fanboying about Kid A. Everything in its Right Place is probably an A tier track. Really solid start. Really sets the tone for the new direction they're going as a band, and overall is a psychedelic, surreal masterpiece. So A for sure, maybe even S, but I'm going to put it A. Kid A, the title track, is a B tier track. Really good though, still. Like, it continues these same emotions of everything in its right place. It's very quiet. It's very ambient. I love the vocoder. I love the swelling synths that kind of like take off during the second half. Really good. The National Anthem is an A tier track. Absolutely, really solid. Kind of like free jazz, freak out, with a really hypnotic bass riff and this like almost creepy alien atmosphere. Really good. I Disappear Completely is an S tier track. One of my favorite Radiohead songs. Really solid. Just builds up to this cathartic, almost hopeless sounding vocal crescendo at the end, and really good. The use of dissonance in the strings is perfect. It's really solid. Tree Fingers is an A tier track. This might be controversial, I guess, but Tree Fingers is one of my favorite songs on Kid A. I love the atmosphere of it. It's like a beautiful ambient Aphex Twin song, and it's a solid moment. I think it's a good way to soak in the atmosphere of How to Disappear Completely for 3 minutes before moving on. Then we have Optimistic, which is a B tier track for me. It's good, but it's one of the more straightforward moments on Kid A. It doesn't really have the same experimental edge that the others do, and so for that, kind of is, in my opinion, like just a pretty good song. In Limbo though is A. I think it is optimistic with a bit of more of a mojo to it. I love the swirling descending sound that it creates, and it just really becomes chaos at the end too. Idiotech is close to being an S tier track, but I'll leave it at A. I love the synth loop that they use, the sample from Mild and Liza. Really cool the way that they basically created like a dystopian dance track. Really good song. Great vocal performance. Really good all around. But that's a hard one. I want to put that in an S, but I'll move on. Morning Bell is another A. Continues the vibe from an Idiotech. It's almost a post-rock song. Morning Bell, really good. I love the vibe. Motion Picture Soundtrack, B. I like it. It's a good closer, although it's not one of my favorite Radiohead closers. I think it's a little I don't know what to call it. It doesn't feel like a grand moment. It's kind of like a bit of a whimper, but I mean, it works in context of the album. It's thematically very appropriate, but it's never been one of my favorite Radiohead songs, so that might be controversial, but overall Kid A is my favorite album though, and you can tell most of it goes into solid A with an S track, so yeah. That's about it. Amnesiac, Packed Like Sardines is a B tier track. I don't think it's one of their best openings, but it's a really solid song still. I love the electronic samples in it, and the really metallic sounding drums, and I love the vocal performance. It's so detached. Then we have Pyramid Song, S tier track, one of the best songs ever. It's so hypnotic. I love the timing of it, the syncopation, and I love the strings that come in. I love the jazzy drums. It's really sublime, and I always want to go back and listen to this again before moving on to Pull Revolving Doors, which is a B tier track. It's good. It's really, I like this one actually probably more than most people. It's really atmospheric, almost suffocatingly so, and I love the dystopian creepy sound to it. Then we have You and News Army. It's an A tier track in my opinion. I love the way it explodes near the end. Then we have I Might Be Wrong. It's a B tier track in my opinion. I think it's very, very layered, very dense, kind of like Airbag, but I think it doesn't have the emotional pull to it that really keeps it a favorite of mine, but it is good. It is really good. Then we have Knives Out. Knives Out is an A tier track in my opinion. This one does have the emotive quality that I Might Be Wrong doesn't have, although it is more straightforward, so there's a balance, but really good. Then we have Morning Bell Amnesiac. This is an A for me. I like it pretty much just as much as the other Morning Bell, sometimes even more depending on the mood I'm in, but I love the way that it switches near the halfway point, and I love the way it uses major and minor chords to juxtapose that kind of like tension and release, I guess, that it keeps going for. Really good. And then we have Dollars and Cents, B tier track. It's fine. There's been times when I really like this track, but over the years it's not really been one of my standouts. So I think B tier track is fair for it. It's good though. It's really good. Very improvisational, almost jazzy. Hunting Bears is a C tier track. It's fine interlude, but as far as Radiohead interlude tracks go, it's actually one of the weaker ones as well. Like Spinning Plates is I'll say B. It's got that kind of like David Lynchian like backwards vocal performance, which is really cool. It's got a really interesting atmosphere. It's very disorienting. It's a good song. Life in a Glass House is also B. I used to like this one a lot more, but I think over the years it's also like not really stood out as one of my favorites in the album. So I think that's it for Amnesiac. A lot more scattered, which is how I feel about Amnesiac in general. I think it's really good, and at times I rank it really high overall, but you go track by track, it's just like there aren't that many amazing songs. It's more just the overall feeling and atmosphere of the album as a whole that makes it worthwhile. But Pyramid Song alone does bring it up a lot. So yeah, that's Amnesiac. Definitely the most inconsistent so far, I guess. Then you have Hail to the Thief. So start with 2 + 2 = 5 at A. Solid opening. I love the 7/8 time signature. I love the transition from the electronic skittering beats to full on like punk rock. Really good. Then we have Sit Down, Stand Up, another A tier track. This pretty much is like 2 + 2 = 5, but done again with a different kind of like sound palette. And I really do like it. I think has an eerie vibe to it, and I love the like popcorn freak out at the end. Then we have Sail to the Moon, B tier. It's a good track. I love the vocal performance. It just feels like it doesn't really resolve, which maybe was the point, but it just to me doesn't stand out too much. Backdrifts is A. I actually really like this song. This one's really grown on me over the years. I think this is one of the best electronic songs that Radiohead has ever done. So that's why it goes there. Plus, I love the part where he goes like, and the song kind of kicks back in. That's a really good moment. So for that alone, almost it's A. But I like the whole song. On second thought, I'm going to put it B. I don't think it really stands up to the other A tier tracks there. So it's going to go B. But it's really good. Then we have Go to Sleep, which is another B tier track. It's pretty good. I want to say straightforward, but actually, as far as a rock song goes, it is pretty weird. So, but it's cool. It's cool. Then we have Where Did You Begin? That's an A tier track for sure. Really good song. I love the groove. I love the way they use the on Martineau. Really good. Then what's track 7? We Suck Young Blood. It's a B tier song. It's pretty good. I love this was growing on me over the years too. I think when I first heard the album, probably would have been D or C, but over the years it's gone up to at least a B. I love the 15-second section where it goes really crazy, but otherwise it has a really creepy vibe, which works super well. Then we have Gloaming. The Gloaming is an A-tier track. It was actually one of my favorites off the album. I'm a sucker for that kind of like dark electronic vibe, so really goes up there for me. And then There is definitely an A-tier track. Solid rock song, has a steady build, kind of explodes near the end. It's got great percussion, great vocals, solid song. I Will is a B-tier track. I like the version where there's like the reverby vocals instead, a lot more from the Conlag EP, but whatever. It's good though. It's a good song. It's the interlude of that album. Then we have Punch Up at a Wedding. This is a C-tier track. It's probably my least favorite on the album. Actually, definitely is my least favorite on the album. I think it just kind of meanders and has a good groove, but it's one of the least effective songs, I think. It's still good though, still fine. Then we have Myxomatosis, A-tier track. Amazing fuzz bass groove, creepy synths, almost like rap style vocals. Really, really good. Then we have two more. Scatterbrain, which is a B-tier track. It's very pretty, very beautiful, but it's not as memorable as some of the other Radiohead songs. And then Wolf at the Door as the finale is a really good, solid closer. Really eerie and almost chaotic. And again, it has that kind of rap vocal performance that Tom York does from Myxomatosis as well. And it works. It's really cool. So that's Hail to the Thief, which seems to be overall kind of like a in between A and B, which is pretty much how I feel about the album. So that works out. Yeah. So still no S tier tracks, but overall good. Overall good album. Okay, now we're on In Rainbows. Oh, we got 3 albums left. 15 Step to Start is an A-tier track. Really good 5/4 time groove. I love the mulched up sounding electronic beat, and I love the jazzy guitar and bass. And Tom York's very laid back performance is really good. So really, really good song. Then we have Body Snatchers. Body Snatchers is an A-tier track as well. Fuzzy punk rock groove. It really, really gets better in the second half. Really good song. Then you have Nude. Nude is almost S, but I'm gonna put A. This is a really good song. I love the R&B vocal performance. I love when he hits the really high note, and I like how it sounds like Little Mermaid. And then we have Weird Fishes, which is an S tier track. This is one of my favorite Radiohead songs, and I love the how it mercurially progresses into this like kind of darker groove. Really, really good. Super layered, super intricate, but sounds crystal clear. And I love the way the guitars interweave into each other, and the bass, and Tom York's very passionate vocal performance. It's all so good. One of my favorite songs. So it's the 5th S tier track. So I guess this is like so far my top 5 Radiohead songs, which I think is pretty representative of how I feel about their music. These are definitely my favorite Radiohead songs. So we'll see if more go into S tier. Next track is All I Need, which is really good. I love the way it ends, and I love the doubled up sounding bass and the piano and the atmosphere. Really, really beautiful. Then we have La Faust Arp, which is B. Solid interlude track, if you can call it that. Really good, very light, Beatles-like, good song. I like the Scotch Mist performance a lot. Then we have Reckoner, A-tier track, almost S, but I'm gonna put it A. This is really good. I love the vibe. It's so relaxing. It's so peaceful, and I love the strings, especially at the end of the song. Really builds to something great. Then we have House of Cards, another A-tier track. Again, this one has a beautiful atmosphere. I love all the samples it uses. It sounds so hazy, and it's very very romantic. Really good. Jigsaw Falling Into Place is another A-tier track, and really good. Really good. This one also builds up to be something really spectacular. I love the strings at the end. I love the shift in the vocal pitch. Really good acoustic groove. Really good. And then we have Videotape, which is an A-tier ending, which is I think the highest score I've given in a Radiohead song, like Radiohead closer track since Street Spirit. So I think that's accurate. I think I really like that one. I think I like the way it sounds so stripped back. I do prefer it to the live version, even though the live version is good in its own right. I do love the stripped back electronic production of the studio version. So, and then we're gonna rank the In Rainbows, disc 2 because it's here. Even though I don't particularly think the disc 2 tracks stand up to the others that well, we'll see where they fit. I think that'll be interesting. So first song on that was what? Down is the New Up. Oh, MK1 technically. And MK1's like pretty, like, it continues the atmosphere of videotape, and it does a good job of bridging, but it's nothing spectacular. It's only like a minute long. And then Down is the New Up is actually a really good song. I'll put it B tier. It's got a great groove. It does sound very unpolished though. That's kind of one major detractor, but it is good. I like the string arrangement in it, the orchestral jabs. Then we have Go Slowly, I think. Yeah, Go Slowly is actually an A tier track. This one's really good. It stands up with anything on In Rainbows in my opinion. I feel like if it was on In Rainbows, it would be a perfect like 11th track. I don't know where it would go in the sequencing. Maybe at the end. Maybe actually it would work after videotape, but really good song. Super heartfelt, super pretty. Almost heartbreaking, actually. Then we have what is next? MK2. This is like just a interlude, and it's the MK1 captures the same emotion of videotape, and MK2 is just like its own thing. I think it's even less remarkable, but it's cool. It makes the disc 2 feel like an album. And then we have Last Flowers. This is a B tier song for me. It's beautiful, but it's very raw. But I do think the way it sounds so unpolished almost like rubs me the wrong way. But maybe that's the intended. But maybe that's the intention of it. I mean, Tom York's vocals are super raw. They're almost like uncomfortably raw. It's hard to listen to, but in a good way, where it's like you really feel like he's bearing his soul for you. So for that alone, it's really good, but I don't think it stands up to the A tier tracks. Then Up on the Ladder. Up on the Ladder is actually one of my favorites from this EP, but I'd put it here as well. It also sounds very unpolished, but it's cool. I like the groove, and I love the skittering rain effects. I listened to this for the first time while it was raining, and I was walking around outside, so it was kind of cool. And then we have Bangers and Mash, which is a solid, B tier track. Really good. Really good song. It's a real jam. I don't think it's as good as, anything here, so I can't put it there, but it's really good, especially like this from the basement version. This from the basement version is even better. 4 Minute Warning is almost A, but I'm going to also put it B. I think it kind of doesn't really go anywhere, but it's a cool vibe, and it's very haunting, I guess. So summary of In Rainbows, it's pretty much all A, except for False Arp. And then In Rainbows Disc 2 is pretty much all B, except for Go Slowly. So, and the MK1 and MK2. So, okay, King of Limbs. We got 2 albums left. So King of Limbs is Bloom is to start. Oh, we should have King of Limbs B-sides, because I put those pretty high. Like Staircase would be for sure A, but oh well. Bloom is, as far as the album version goes, it's a B tier track. If we were doing live in the basement, it would be A, even S. But Bloom, it's good. It's a solid intro. It feels a little flat though. And then we have Morning Mr. Magpie. Oh, this is an A tier track for me. I really like the atmosphere of this song. I love the groove of it. I love how claustrophobic it is. Actually really good. This is one of my favorites on the album. Little by Little is another B tier track. It's good. It's good. It's I don't think it's as good as Morning Mr. Magpie. It feels a little messy, but it's got a good rhythm as well. And a lot of cool like samples and layers in it. Feral, B tier track. It's good. It's good. It's just doesn't stand out that much on the album. Codex is a B tier track as well. It's beautiful. It's very pretty, but it's no pyramid song. It's probably on the level like Sail to the Moon for me in terms of Radiohead piano songs. It is quite pretty though. Yeah. Give Up the Ghost is always not been one of my favorites. I think it's the weakest track on King of Limbs. I never skip anything on King of Limbs. It's a short album anyway, but like it's definitely the song I feel like drags the most. So I've never been that partial to it, but I do like the From the Basement version. That one's very pretty, very beautiful. I forgot Lotus Flower. Lotus Flower is really good. I'll put it in A. It has great atmosphere, great vibe, and is one of the strongest tracks on that album for sure. And I love the music video. And the Separators B. It's kind of it's an okay album album closer. I listen to King of Limbs with the B-sides afterwards. I have it burned as a CD. That's the way I listen to it in my car. So Separator is not really the album closer for me, but I guess it is the official album closer, and it's a pretty okay song. It's got a good atmosphere as well, and I like the ray of hope guitars at the end. But okay, so on to the last album, which is Moonshaped Pool, and Moonshaped Pool is probably going to be similar to Amnesiac for me, where it's kind of all over the place. But yeah, we'll see. Burn the Witch as a start, as an A-tier track, really good. The pairing of electronic percussion and the kind of like off-kilter classical arrangement or orchestral arrangement is really cool. And Tom York sounds better than ever. So yeah. Oh, Daydreaming. Daydreaming is also almost an S-tier track. But I'm gonna put it A. No, I'm gonna put it S. This is the best song on the album, and this song's really good. Actually, yeah, this song's really good. It's out of these S tier tracks, it's probably my least favorite. But that being said, it still deserves S tier. It's super good, really beautiful, achingly beautiful, very heartfelt, and I love the way it kind of like changes into that almost like Lynchian nightmare at the end with like the really deep reverby reversed vocals at the end. But the string arrangement is awesome, so breathtaking, and the piano, the kind of like repeating piano motif is really stunning. So Daydreaming is up there. Yeah. Dex Dark is an A-tier track. Really like this one. Like the atmosphere of it. Love the kind of like guitar groove it has at the end. Desert Island Disc is a A-tier track, actually. Almost B-tier track, but A-tier track. It has a great sort of this kind of feel to it that's very chill. It's a track to just kind of vibe to. It's good. Full Stop is another B-tier track, or A-tier track, sorry. It's got a great vibe, great groove, very krautrocky, and it kind of builds up, ebbs and flows. Very, very nice. Glass Eyes is another A-tier track. I really like this one. It's super beautiful. It's almost like it's also very raw. It just sounds like Tom York's curling into the fetal position and crying, and I want to hug him. This is definitely one of the saddest songs on the album, but there's an even more sad one. Then we have Identikit, which is probably one of my least favorite tracks on the album. It definitely pales in comparison to the live versions they played back in 2012 and whatever on the King of Limbs tour, which had that great synthesizer bridge. This just doesn't have that, and well, it does, but it's not the same effect. It feels dry, but it's still good. It's still a fine song. And then we have Present Tense. No, we have the Numbers. The Numbers is also B tier. I think it's fine. I think it feels a little bloated in its production. I think I always find it sounds like it has musical baggage it's carrying. Like maybe it's just the way it's mixed or produced, but I really do think that there's too much going on in this song. But it is still a fine track. I love the string arrangement at the end. It's good. Present Tense is an A-tier track. Really, really beautiful. Hard to find flaws in Present Tense. It's pretty stunning actually. Then you have Tinker Tailor, which I think is also A-tier track, if only for the string arrangement that spirals down at the end, which is incredible. And then you have Tree Love Waits, which is a B-tier track. I'm sorry. I like the early acoustic guitar version of True Love Waits way better, and I think that this version is good. It fits the album very well, but I think that it's Maybe it's just too sad, but it just doesn't affect me maybe the way that it does affect other people, which I can respect if you really like the song. It is good, but it's just never been one that resonates with me that well. But anyway, that's it. So to go over a little bit, looks like Pablo Honey overall goes into mostly C tier. Yeah, which I think is appropriate. And then the Benz is mostly around B tier if you average it out, because it's got some A's, some C's, one S, but that's overall it. Let's see if I can zoom out. Yeah, there we go a little bit. There, perfect. And then OK Computer is mostly around A. It's got some B's, one C, one S. So overall averages to about A. And then Kid A also averages to A for sure. It's got one S. It's got couple B's, but nothing goes lower than B. Amnesiac is all over from S to C, but overall averages about B plus. And then Hail to the Thief is about half A, half B, so it averages, and one C, so it averages at about probably low A. And then we have In Rainbows, which is pretty much all A except for False ARP. And then Rainbows Disc 2, which is pretty much all B except for Go Slowly and the MK1, MK2. So that averages to about a B. In Rainbows Disc 1 averages to about an A, high A because it has an S as well. So probably actually as far as averages go, In Rainbows Disc 1 is probably the highest rated overall for individual tracks. So that's kind of cool. Then we have King of Limbs, which overall is about a B with some A's, some C. Yeah, that's solid to me, I think, because I think it is better than Pablo Honey, but not as good as, say, like Hail to the Thief. Probably on the level of Amnesiac for me, maybe a little lower than Amnesiac. Yeah, definitely lower than Amnesiac. Amnesiac has a S and a few A's, so. And then we have Moonshaped Pool, which is mostly A, got some B's, and I'd probably put it around there too, like a little higher than Hail to the Thief, going on to the A. It's got an S track that really pulls it up, but yeah, that's overall my ranking of the Radiohead discography, song by song, album by album. So I don't know if you agree. Let me know. If you really disagree with some of my picks, also let me know, because I'm kind of curious to see which ones are controversial. This is just what I feel, and I've listened to Radiohead for years, and this is kind of like how my opinions have formed through listening to these songs hundreds of times over like 8 years. So that's just how I feel about them. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.